Hey everyone, it's the Photo Techie. I hope you're all well. Today's video, I'm taking a look at the PowerA Fusion Pro 3. So priced at £80 here in UK, comes in this very premium box with a lot of detail about the controller on it. And I have to say the unboxing experience has definitely felt very, very premium to me. It comes in a carrying case, which is sort of presented very nicely when you open the box. And the box has some very nice detail sort of artwork, and the manuals and some stickers are presented very nicely as well. Inside the carrying case, the controller is actually stored very safely. There we go. So we have the controller. When I opened it the first time, yeah, it did look very, very nice to me. And it's got this net, got the latch, so you get this Velcro, so you can actually put it up there so it doesn't come in contact with the sticks, but unfortunately that's only for the smaller sticks. If you put the longer thumbsticks, then the top of the case comes in contact. But still a decent design. So of course we have the controller. We have a very premium PowerA branded USB-A to USB-C cable, which is a pain to get it out of the case. But yeah, it's a PowerA branded one. Very nice. And then of course, last but not least, we have these two extra thumbsticks. So the concave one, long one, and the convex one. Nice material. But I use Control Freaks anyway. So yeah, overall it was a very good experience. Like I mentioned, my only gripe with this carrying case is if I put Control Freaks on the controller, or if you put the long thumbstick, then the case sort of comes in contact with it. But other than that, yeah, very good unboxing experience. So talking about the functions of the controller, we have 4 programmable back buttons, and we have this programmable button here in the middle. We basically press and hold that for 3 seconds. The LED light starts flashing. At this point, you press whatever face button you want to program, and then press the back button you want to program to. That's it. You have to repeat the process for all 4 of them. There is no sort of a profile switcher or a way to have custom, like, just one switch and just changing what they're doing. So anytime you want to change anything, you have to do that. But at least it's available on the controller. You don't have to go into an app to do it all the time. Now PowerA does have an app. I've just discovered it. So let's just quickly take a look at that as well. And as you can see, I've connected the controller and it's picked it up. And going into the app, you have these options here. Now all these, to me, just like test options. It's not that I can do any dead zones here, because it says adjust test dead zone. So if I do anything with the dead zones, A plus R and increase it. So it will increase the dead zones here. But if I take this controller out of this app and plug it back in, it goes back to 0. So nothing that you do here gets saved onto Fusion Pro 3. So it's just basically like testing your controller if it has any issues. I have to say, out of the box, I do like what I see. You can test it all that. And one thing I did notice, if I connected the enhanced, which is the older controller, then the PowerA, the app gives you the option for calibrating the sticks and triggers, which you don't get when you put the Fusion 3 on it. I don't know if it's going to be updated and they will add that feature later on, but as of making this video, no, you can't do anything. This is just like a way to test if everything is working right with the controller. So talking about the ergonomics, PowerA has their tried and tested design where the sort of grips taper in a little bit instead of, this little bit of a departure from the standard controller. But this time around, they're using this rubberized textured material, both back and front. And I have to say, with this material and this kind of grip, this controller feels so good in hand. It's honestly becoming like one of my favorite ones to hold, especially on the Xbox platform. Because coming from the Elite Series 2 and the Gambit, I have to say that little change with the material really, really helps for longer gaming sessions. So ergonomics, absolutely on point with the back button placement and the way they've designed the controller. They haven't changed anything here, but just the material makes such a big difference. The ABXY button and the D-pad, they're just your standard silicone membrane sort of mechanism, and nice to press. The buttons are nicely sized. I have to say I do like the D-pad, the cross type, because the games I'm playing, you don't use it that much, but I like the resistance it has and the satisfying press. Even though it's soft, but it does feel quite nice. The ABXY buttons never had any issues or anything. These 3 buttons are, because I use Control Freak, so sometimes getting to this select button, I believe that is, it's a little bit awkward, especially the share button as well, but something I just got used to it. But all in all, yeah, these buttons do the job absolutely perfectly, no issues whatsoever. These volume controls that we have for the 3.5mm, they are the membrane style one as well. This one can be tricky because you have to press to mute the mic, and I found a lot of times when you want to do that, you end up pressing the volume up or down. So that's a bit of a thing. You have to kind of like push it up and then press it in, and then it will always press in and mute the mic. But I don't use the audio out of the 3.5mm anyway, because I'll talk about that a little bit later. Yeah, all in all, I have to say face buttons, very decent. So talking about the triggers, these have 3-way trigger stops, and according to my testing, the first stop sort of cuts out 30% of the treble, and when you go to the shortest setting, it's taking out around 70%, so you still have 30% pull left. Now some might say, oh, that's not enough, but in all honesty, the way these are designed, the actual design of the trigger itself, I was actually quite okay with just the 30% stop that's left. My only thing that I felt a little bit could have been better was they have a texture out here and out there. I wish they'd done the other way around. They put the texture in the middle, because that's the part that the finger's touching the most. But I do feel this texture every now and then when my finger just sort of like crosses over. So not bad, and yeah, could have been better if it had a bit more sort of like, travel taken out. But I think these are potentiometer based triggers, because when I opened the enhanced controller and the PDP rematch, they all have like a potentiometer, and I know the Xbox, since Xbox One days, they've had Hall effect triggers. So maybe that's the reason, that potentiometer, that it has to move a certain amount. That's why they can only do 30%. But yeah, it works. When we come to bumpers, what PowerA do really well is you can actually actuate them from anywhere. And I had this issue with the PDP where I could only use them from outside, not from in. So when I opened the enhance, I realized that what they do is the switches inside are at an angle. So that's why you can actuate from anywhere. So bumpers work absolutely perfectly, no issues whatsoever. Now, the thumbsticks, this is very interesting. I had issues with my enhanced with the thumbsticks. I made a video comparing that to the PDP rematch and I explained it. Now, searching online, there are 2 types of thumbsticks Elves make. One is rated for 100,000 actuations of the potentiometer and 100,000 actuations of the actual button presses. And there is another one which is rated for 2 million actuations of the potentiometer and 500,000 actuations of the button press. So all the cheaper controllers, so I actually opened 3, PDP Rematch, Turtle Beach Recon, and PowerA Enhanced, they're all using that cheap style, because it has a metal shaft and you can read about, you can see the pictures and stuff. They're all using the cheaper one. This, however, is using the more expensive one, because the center shaft's supposed to be resin. And when you look at it, yeah, so this is definitely the more expensive one. So I'm very, very happy about that. And I have to say, I do like the fact that the thumbstick material they use, this module that they have, the plastic is a bit thicker. So something like the Victrix Gambit, this plastic is thin. So when you press this in, that feels a bit cheap. So this is actually a very, very good experience. And I have to say, I have really high hopes for this one, because I didn't know about that disparity between the rating of the thumbsticks. I was shocked that one is rated like 20 times higher for the actuations of direction, and 5 times higher for the actuation of the button that's in there. So I do think, it looks like that this is the higher quality one. Honestly, I have to say, like, performing with these sticks in game, it's been absolutely amazing. The response curve to me feels a bit twitchy initially because I was playing with a gambit a lot. Call of Duty, absolutely no problem aiming or everything with this. I really enjoyed using these. Once I got used to it, did have to change my sensitivity a bit. But yeah, I think if these can last, absolutely amazing. Now, when we come to the back button design, this is interesting. And this is my first PowerA with 4 buttons, and I really like this design. So I call this either or. So basically, you are either using the bottom or the top. This is not, for me, at least with my sort of hands, this is not something you do simultaneously. So it's not like on the Elite, I can do a simultaneous top and bottom with, you know, longer and shorter pedals. But in practice, using these has been a joy, absolutely amazing. I will say, first couple of games, I had issue with the top one actuating, even from the side, you know, so if I grip it, even like the sides can actuate that button. But I got used to it so quickly. I would say maybe a couple of games and I didn't have no accidental actuations. So in Call of Duty, I have weapon swap, jump, crouch, and the left thumbstick press. In Battlefield, I have I replaced the left thumbstick press on the bottom right to single fire or auto fire, and that comes in so handy in that game. So I would say aiming for me, absolutely amazing. And triggers, yeah, it could be better, but worked fine for me. Negatives, let's quickly get those out of the way. Like I mentioned, something with the carrying case, that's a big one. You know, if you put a control freak on, you have to take it off to put it back into the case, or if you're using the higher thumbstick, you have to make sure you take that out and then put it into the case. I wish that wasn't the case. But yeah, that is just what it is. The other thing is the audio that's coming out of this 3.5mm jack. So this is not this controller's fault, is every third-party controller I have tried. The audio, I don't know what's going on Xbox platform, is just not right. Xbox Elite Series 2 is the only one that gives like a decent audio. So I have the EPOS H6 Pro that I'm using, and yeah, maybe the headset just requires a lot of power. So I wish, you know, PowerA implement something like that they put maybe extra power or something in that 3.5mm jack that we can run maybe higher impedance headset. The H6 Pro is rated at 28 ohms anyway. It's not even like, you know, it's not like it's 50 ohms or something. But yeah, but that's every third-party controller, by the way. That's Razer Wolverine, Victrix Gambit, PDP Rematch, every controller. The only controller on Xbox that I have good experience with is the Elite Series 2. So that's a minor gripe, but yeah. And the other thing is, like I mentioned, no profiles on the controller. I wish there was a couple of profiles I could quickly change. The amount of times I go into Battlefield not realizing that I haven't changed the bottom right to like, you know, select fire, and then I'm like, oh, okay, I'm waiting for the 3 seconds and doing it mid-game. But yeah, other than that, so far, I have to say I am really impressed with this controller. And if this controller has the longevity, then I think this will be the one to beat. I will keep updating you guys of how it goes, because this is kind of becoming like my main for Xbox now. I'm going between the Gambit and this. Of course, I'll make a video comparing the Gambit with this once I've had a little bit more time with this. Yeah, that's basically everything what I experienced with the controller. I hope I was able to give you some good information. If I left anything out, please do leave me a message. I love when people leave comments on my videos and I have a conversation with them. Share if, you know, what your experience been like with PowerA, because with my first one, I had some issues with the stick, which I did fix by opening the controller and opening the potentiometer, putting it back, and kind of fix the controller. But yeah, they do have like online searching. There's a bit of a bad rep with longevity of the controllers, and especially coming across that information of how the thumbsticks work, you know, 100,000 actuations and 2 million. I think maybe it's not even PowerA's fault. It's just the component they can afford to put in a cheaper controller. So yeah, I have really high hopes with this controller, and I do hope that it pans out. I'll keep you guys updated. Thank you so much for your support, and thank you so much for watching this video, and everybody who subscribed means a lot. And like I said, if you have any questions, please leave me a comment. Bye.